So now let's just practice sending and receiving messages from the queue using the CLI, because I think it's quite important to once in a while get a practice on the CLI. So let's look at the AWS SQS and we type help, and this gives us the manual of the SQS command line. I'm doing this from my own personal computer, by the way. So the available commands are create queue, delete message, delete queue. We get a lot of APIs right here. So let's look at this one. List queues sounds great. So we'll just do AWS SQS list queues. And this returns nothing. Well, that's a bit weird because we have two queues right here. Turns out that because my command line was configured using as a default region the Paris region, and now we're doing an API call in North Virginia, well, it's not working. So we have to specify the region. And so a way to specify the region using the CLI is do -- region, and then we just specify the region name, so US East 1. So this is a very important command. The -- region is applied to every single command and can just allow you to do an API call, a CLI call, against another region. So now, yes, using this API call, we can see we have two queues. We have my first queue and my first DL queue. Now, if you lose the API help again, the CLI help, and we look at it, let's look at something like send message. So we want to learn more about send message. So we'll say AWS SQS send message help. And now we are in the help of the send message. And so we can see we have to specify a queue URL and a message body. We're also available to say how many seconds we want to delay our stuff by. We can specify attributes and more inputs. So let's go ahead and use this. So SQS send message, and then we'll say queue URL, and we'll specify my first queue as the URL. And don't forget to add the region US East 1 if you did this tutorial in the Virginia region. So the other thing we need to specify is the body. So message body, hello world. Press enter. And so now the message has been sent. If we go back to our queue and refresh, we can see now that in my first queue, there's one message available. If we view the message and start polling for messages, we see the hello world body was just being sent straight from the CLI. Okay, awesome. So we've been using the send messages and it's been working great. Now, what about the other commands? So let's go back to the SQS help and see what happens. So we have the send queue we've done, and how about we want to get messages now? So we'll have a receive message API that we may want to learn about. So let's learn about the receive message API. So I'll say receive message and then help. And now the receive message is to poll, and so we're able to specify a wait time second parameter to enable long poll support, which is very important to do if you want to decrease the cost. And so let's scroll down and see what happens. We receive a message. We have to specify a queue URL, and then we can specify the wait time seconds, so how long we're willing to wait to get these messages. We can specify a max number of message and so on. So there's a lot of different options we can use. What I'll do is that I'll just copy all this just to see what we need. So I'll quit this. And so I'll do SQS receive message, and I'll just paste this and delete what I don't need. So the wait time seconds we definitely want to have. Let's just do a wait time for 20 seconds. The visibility timeout, we'll say, okay, 30 seconds, that message should not be visible. The max number of messages, 10. The message attributes name, we don't need to get attributes name as well. And then for the queue URL, what I want to do is send that exact same queue right here. And then finally, I need to also specify the region, so I can do this anywhere I want, by the way. So I'll do this right here, region US East 1. So this should allow us to retrieve up to 10 messages from my first queue, and the message won't be visible for 30 seconds, and the wait time to get these messages is 20 seconds. Press enter, and now we get our message. So we have our message ID, which is right here, and a receipt handle, which is going to be used when we use the delete message API, the MD5 if we need to have the MD5 of the body, and the body itself, hello world. So overall, this worked great. So let's go have a look into our console, refresh. And now we can see that because we have a wait timeout millisecond or 30 seconds, the message is in flight. So it was straight from available and it went into in flight. And after 30 seconds, the message, because we're not deleting it right now, will go straight back to messages available. So let's play a little bit and send a few more messages. So I'll just go and run the send message a few more times. So 1 and then another one. So 2. So we have more messages in my SQS queue now. So next we can look at the queue and we can see we have 3 messages available in that queue, 0 messages in flight. And so what we want to do is process these messages. So for this, let's have a look at the SQS help again to find the right API call. And if we scroll down, we see that there is a delete message API we can use. So SQS delete message, and then we'll do help to get the help. And so this is to delete a message. So let's look at how we can use it. We have to do delete message, put the queue URL in there, and the receipt handle that we get from the consumption. So let's have a look at how we can do. So let's just do a list again on all the queues to get the queue URL. Okay, here it is. Now we're going to do a receive message. So using the right queue, we have 10 messages max, a visibility time of 30, press enter. And now we get a message. Excellent, here's the message and here's the receipt handle. And so if we go back to SQS, address SQS delete message, and the receipt handle is this one. So I copy this entire thing. The queue URL is the one from before. So I'll copy this entire URL. And then finally, the region is US East 1. And if I did it fast enough, now we get a success. The message should have been deleted. Let's go back to our little website to see if it works. So let's refresh. And now we can see the number of messages available is 2. And the message in flight is 0. So we were fast enough because the visibility timeout was only 30 seconds. We were fast enough and were able to delete that message. So as we can see now, to delete the message, we need to provide the receipt handle that we get straight from the receive message API. So this is just a little CLI play just to get a bit more practice with the SQS API. But overall, this should just be things you know now. And I hope that helped put things into perspective as to what the process should be when dealing with SQS, with the CLI or the SDK, so you can use this in your application. So that's it for this lecture, and I will see you in the next lecture.